Christmas is among us.
It has among us?
It has among us.
Yes.
Yes.
It has among us.
I was going to say it has arrived.
Yes.
And is among us.
It's both.
It's both. It's gruel.
It's gruel. Yeah, so it's Christmas Eve. You guys probably won't get this until Christmas Day because we've had a very busy week.
As always.
I know, but these last few weeks before the holidays have been, like, exceptionally busy.
Yeah, end of the semester for school. It's just concerts upon concerts for the kid.
Yeah.
So many things.
We didn't have a chance to do it yesterday. We were going to do it earlier today to get the pot. Well, today, Christmas Eve, Wednesday. We were going to do it earlier today to get it out to you guys on the day we normally.
I think it still will because it's, I don't know, maybe right before midnight.
Yeah. So,
but that
will be your Christmas present.
Well, I always forget that the computer clock is an hour later, so it's actually 8:30, not 9:30. So, I think it'll be out, but it'll be released. I don't know how many of you will listen to it before you go to bed, though. So.
All of you
actually will. That's right. I forgot about that. Kitty. Kitty's attacking the Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. So.
Yeah, we made the mistake of putting them out before Christmas morning this year. And I'm not sure if we should change our minds or not because...
Because this one is crazy?
They're all crazy.
Yeah, the other ones are sleeping right now, though.
Right now, they won't be in the middle of the night.
That's true.
That's their prime being ridiculous time.
Well, they're eternal. Okay, well, you just want to jump on in?
May as well. We haven't... As busy as we've been, we really don't have anything going on.
Well, I'm nursing a pretty significant injury. So I have that going on.
An injury?
Yeah. My HTO injury.
Oh, that one. I was like, which injury?
I can't believe that you...
I know. I'm so insensitive. That I forgot your horrible disfigurement.
My T injury. So, do you guys know what HTO is? If you're not from West Texas or New Mexico, you probably don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But it's this place where you can go and get iced tea.
And like a zillion different flavors.
Yeah. I mean, you can get coffees too, but it's mostly
an iced tea place.
Iced tea. And you can get ginormous ones.
They're literally called huge.
Yeah. Like when you order them, you order a huge and it's like 50 ounces of iced tea. Mm-hmm. And I think that they hurt my hand by picking them up by the top of them in the car.
Yeah.
And it hurts. And I can't grab anything because my hand hurts. And so now I have a tea injury. Mm-hmm. But I must prevail, I guess.
Yes.
We must go on.
So, go on we shall. And let's just go on.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got a Christmas story for you.
Oh, good.
All right.
Love a good Christmas story.
Right? It's Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. Much like today.
Much like this day that we are currently experiencing.
Only it's 1945. And
I don't think I experienced that one.
No. And it's in Fayetteville, West Virginia.
I've never been there.
No. A family of 12 is settling in for the night. Mom goes to bed, leaving some of the children downstairs to play with presents that they received from their older sister that evening. And little did she know that half of her children would go missing that night, never to be seen again.
I feel like I've heard this story before, but...
I'm sure that you have.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is the disappearance of the Sodder children.
Okay.
All right. So, just a little background on the family. George Sodder was born Giorgio Soddu in Sardinia in 1895. And when he was just 13, he and his older brother immigrated to the United States. However, as soon as they cleared customs at Ellis Island, his older brother claimed to be homesick and hopped back on the boat and pieced right back
never mind.
Yeah, leaving 13-year-old Giorgio alone in a new country.
Yes.
So, quick side note. I hopped onto the Statue of Liberty website to check out the ship manifests from that time because I was wondering if he was on the same ship as Great Grandma Italia.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he was born in 1895 and he came here when he was 13, that would have been in 1908. And that was the year that she immigrated to the United States. But when I did that, I kind of found a little discrepancy in the story about Giorgio.
Yeah.
Because I just searched the last name Sodder, and I got a Giorgio who was 28 and arrived in 1913, and I got a 16-year-old Georgie who arrived in 1911. And my best guess is that the Giorgio Sodder who arrived in 1913 might have been the correct one.
Okay. And
that, like, the game of telephone over the years turned that he arrived in 1913 to the fact that he was 13.
Maybe.
And I also didn't see, neither one of them traveled with a companion that had the same last name.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, it just could have, I don't know, just got missed or something. I don't know. But if he... I don't know. Those ship manifests on the Statue of Liberty website show, like, every passenger on any of those ships that came in through Ellis Island. So, I don't know. The other night, remember I told you that I had fallen down a rabbit hole?
Yeah.
That was the one.
Oh.
Was me going through ship manifests on the Statue of Liberty website. Yeah. So, regardless of how old he was, Giorgio made his way to Pennsylvania and found work on the railroad. He also at some point changed his name to George Sodder because, as Lorelai Gilmore so eloquently put it, this is America, where we unapologetically bastardize other cultures in a gross quest for moral and military supremacy.
Yes.
So, you can't have your Italian name because it's not American enough.
He found his pipe cleaner.
Oh, good. We were making pipe cleaner ornaments for the tree earlier, and the kitties were very excited about that.
Yes.
All right, well, George eventually made his way down to Smithers, West Virginia, where he found work as a truck driver. And then, because he was literally living the American dream, he started his own trucking business.
Avalanche!
Okay, are you done yet? Over there? Yeah? No? No? Yes?
All right.
Okay. All right, well, anyway. Okay. So he started his own trucking business, and I guess he started out hauling dirt to and from construction sites, and then he started hauling coal because he's in West Virginia, and that's what they do there, according to the only thing that I know about West Virginia, other than it's kind of shaped like a guitar.
Okay.
Agree or disagree?
I honestly couldn't tell you what West Virginia looks like.
It's the one that's like this.
I know where it is. I just don't know what it looks like.
It looks like this.
Okay. I mean, I could Google an image.
I don't know why you don't just already know what it looks like.
Because I've never paid that much attention to the Virginias.
The other Virginia looks like this. See, it looks like a guitar without the
the neck
thingy. Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, and the other Virginia goes like this.
All right.
Okay, so apparently I'm like Rain Man about shapes of states. Mm-hmm. And you're not.
I know what some states look like, but not the Virginias.
Okay, well, anyway, so while living in Smithers, he wandered into a local music shop called the Music Box and fell in love with the shopkeeper's daughter named Jennie Cipriani. She had also immigrated from Italy as a child. They married in 1922 and settled in a little 2-story timber house about 2 miles north of Fayetteville, West Virginia. And George did all right with his trucking business. They weren't rich, but they were pretty solidly middle class, which I honestly would kill to be.
Right.
They had 10 children over the next 20 years. And that is a whole lot of kids over
for any amount of years.
A very long amount of time. Because it's like just when you think you're done, here comes another one. And I can't even imagine because one child is plenty.
Enough.
Yeah. Imagine being pregnant on and off for like 20 years.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. So anyway, their first baby was named John, and he was born in 1923. And then Joseph, Marion, George Jr., Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jennie, Betty, and then little Sylvia was the final baby born in 1943. Okay. They had... So, fun fact, we are recording in the living room today, which is something we don't ever do. But while we're here, we have to deal with
the things the cats are doing.
Yes. Okay. Well, anyway, so they had established themselves in Fayetteville as a kind of a prominent family, likable. The Fayetteville also had a pretty significant Italian community. Mm-hmm. And while the family was known to be likable, George was also known to be opinionated about literally everything.
I know people like him.
Yeah. And another thing that we need to know about George is he was Antifa.
Okay.
And by that, I mean that he was strongly outspoken against Mussolini.
Okay.
And the Italian dictator was executed in April of 1945, so just a few months before this Christmas that we're at. And George was not sorry about it.
No.
And Mussolini's supporters did not love that. They didn't love that George was not sorry about it.
Yeah.
So just keep that in your back pocket.
Okay.
All right, so back to the kids. In December 1945, the kids ranged in age from 23 to 3 years old. One of the kids, Joseph or Joe, was 21 and in the Army at the time. Mm-hmm. And World War II had just ended, I think, in August. Right? Armistice Day is out August? Is Armistice Day the day that the war ended?
You act like I know things about wars.
Friend, come on.
You don't know, but you're expecting me to know.
I am just looking for validation. I'm pretty sure that I'm correct. Oh, that was November. What is Armistice?
11/11.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Remembrance Day.
Okay, never mind. I was wrong about what Armistice Day is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure that the war ended in August of 1945. But anyway, the war was over, but Joe wasn't home yet. And so it was 9 of the children that were home. Stop taking pictures of me.
I'm not trying to. It switched cameras. I'm trying to take a picture of the cat.
Stop being a creep. Okay. Are you good? Can you pay attention to me now?
I can listen and do it at the same time. You're paying attention to me.
Okay. But you are not very good at multitasking. So anyway, of the 10 children, only 9 of them were home. Joe was gone to the Army.
Yes.
John, technically not a child anymore, but still lived at home. And he was 23.
Did you say of the 10 children, only 9 of them were home?
Yes. I said only 9 of them were home.
Almost every single one of them was there.
Only all of them but one. Yes.
Okay, just making sure I heard what I heard.
Okay. It was not all of them.
It was
one of them was at
only
the war.
Every single one but one.
All right. Well, Marion, who was 17 at the time, had been working at the local Five and Dime in town, and she bought her little brothers and sisters Christmas presents. And surprise, what's happening?
I don't know.
Could you find out what's happening? What was
it? Was
that?
Playing the Baby Hall of Alina video in the background somehow.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, worse things could be playing.
So it was
than
the
Baby
sound
Hall of
of air and then whack, whack, whack,
It sounded like somebody was like running or out of breath or something.
It was, somebody was probably out of breath, but it was just being close to the camera, and
yeah.
Then there was baby pig noises.
Yeah. Okay, so presents from the Five and Dime.
Yeah.
Kids are playing with them.
Yes.
All right. So around 10 p.m., Jennie, the mom, said she was going to bed. Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jennie, and Betty asked if they could stay up and play with their new toys. Mm-hmm. These kids were, at this time, Maurice was 14, Martha was 12, Louis was 9, Jennie was 8, and Betty was 5. So these kids are ranging from 14 to 5. Jennie said, okay, but reminded Maurice and Lewis that they needed to go out and feed the cows and shut the chicken coop before they went to bed, and that they needed to shut the curtains, lock the door, and turn off the lights. Mm-hmm. Marion also stayed up with them, and I just have a little trouble with this part because it's December and it's like 10 p.m.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why she's like sending her 2 young sons out to take care of the cows and the chickens this late.
Because in those days, they treated little boys like men.
I guess. I was wondering if like maybe they were already supposed to have done it, but they kept putting it off. And she was like, you need to go do it.
But either way, they expected little boys to be like way more mature than
that's true.
They actually are.
So, also, I can't believe that she let them stay up because Christmas Eve is literally the only night of the year that you can get your children to go to bed early.
I mean, our
for
child
the most part,
being very obstinate about it this year, but
well, he's just obstinate. But I mean, Santa Claus won't come until you go to bed.
Exactly.
And then they go to bed.
Exactly.
But she's just like, it's fine, stay up.
Yeah.
So, anyway, she went to bed, left the kids up playing. The next thing she knows, it's after midnight and the phone is ringing. And she gets out of bed to answer it. And in my head, the only phones would have been on a pole outside the house that you had to climb to the very top of to answer.
Yeah.
But I think that's just in Hooterville.
I think that's in Green Acres.
Isn't that Hooterville?
No, Green Acres is next to Hooterville.
No, what is Hooterville?
Do they live in Hooterville and Green Acres?
I thought they lived in Hooterville.
Where did Petticoat Junction live? In Petticoat Junction?
Yes.
Or they just call that because the girls...
No. I'm pretty sure it was Hooterville.
I was thinking that Hooterville was next to...
Hooterville is a fictional agricultural community that is the setting for Petticoat Junction and Green Acres. So they all lived in Hooterville.
I guess.
Alright. I never really watched Petticoat Junction, so... But I did watch Green Acres.
Yeah.
Not usually on purpose, but when it was on. Okay, so anyway, she answers the phone. The woman on the other end is asking for an unfamiliar name.
Hold on, I have to tell you a thing.
Oh, tell me a thing.
It says the first appearance of Hooterville was in the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, okay. So it was even a spinoff from that.
It says that character Sam Drucker first appeared in the Beverly Hillbillies.
Interesting. A spinoff of a spinoff of a spinoff.
Yes.
All right.
Anyway.
Oh, little boy.
So, just a little tidbit.
All right. So, anyway, fun facts all around.
Yes.
All right. So, Jennie answers the phone. It's a woman asking for somebody who does not live in the house.
Yes.
Jennie tells her that she has the wrong number. She gets off the phone. She said that in the background, you could hear people laughing and glasses clinking like they were at a party. She also noted that the woman had a weird laugh. Mm-hmm. And while this is weird and attributed to a series of bizarre events that occur in this timeline, the police people did eventually track down the woman. I'd like to know how, because I can't imagine that phone records existed in 1945 unless they just looked for women who had weird laughs.
People that actually had telephones?
Right. But when they talked to the woman, she said she genuinely just dialed the wrong number.
Yeah.
So when Jennie got up to answer the phone, she noticed that the lights were all still on, the door was unlocked, and the curtains were still open. But the children were not there. And so she assumed that they had gone upstairs to bed and forgotten to do the things because they're little kids. Mm-hmm. So she went and did all of those things. She noticed that Marion was asleep on the couch, but she left her there and she went back to bed. As she was dozing off, she was startled awake again, this time by a loud bang on the roof, followed by a rolling sound. And this part confuses me in the telling of the story, but only after I watched the episode of History's Greatest Mysteries, because I assumed every time that I've heard this story, I've just always assumed that she was asleep upstairs.
Yeah.
But on the show, they said that her bedroom was downstairs and the kids slept upstairs. And as a person who's never lived in a two-story house, would you hear something hit the roof if you were asleep downstairs and you had an attic?
Guess it depends on how loud the bang was, and I'm sure it was pretty quiet because it was the 40s.
Yeah, maybe. Anyone want to weigh in on that lives in a two-story house? But either way, I guess she didn't really think much of it. Maybe she thought it was Santa Claus.
Well, it should have been.
Yeah. And she went back to sleep. About 30 minutes later, she's woken up again because this woman can't get any sleep. But this time it was to something scarier. There was smoke. And this was definitely before smoke detectors were invented. Mm-hmm. So by the time that she woke up and realized that the house was on fire, there was barely enough time to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Little Sylvia slept in a crib in George and Jennie's room, so they grabbed her. They roused George Jr. and John, Marion, who was asleep on the couch, and they got out of the house. However, they soon realized that the other 5 children were not outside. The 2 older boys claimed to have called up the stairs to tell them to get out of the house. I think their original testimony was that they shook them awake, but then later admitted that they didn't actually see them, that they only yelled at them, like for them to get out. George tried to go out, or tried to go back inside, but he found the staircase blocked by flames. So he ran outside to grab the ladder that was always propped against the house, only to find that the ladder was gone. Mm-hmm. It was later found like 75 feet away from the house down an embankment.
Yeah.
He was going to try to douse the flames with a water barrel that he kept by the house, but the water was completely frozen over. So he decided to pull one of his coal hauling trucks over to the house to see if they could like climb up on top of it and reach the windows that way. But they couldn't get either truck to start, even though they had both been used the day before for work. Now, this also could be something nefarious because, again, there's a lot of bizarre events that happen. But it's also theorized that in their panic, they flooded the engines, and that's why the trucks didn't start. But side note, do you remember Grandma Olivia's Jeep? She had an army Jeep in the garage, and we loved to play in the Jeep. And so every time I think of engines being flooded, I always think of that because they always told us not to press on the gas pedal so that we wouldn't flood the engine. Yeah. But we were free to press the brakes and mess with the gear shift. Anyway, so Timu's trying to sell me things. Let's see. So in all of this time, they never saw any of the other 5 children at the windows or heard them screaming or crying or anything. History's Greatest Mysteries said that Jennie tried to use the phone in the house to call the fire department, but that the phone wasn't working. I'm just not sure how she would have been able to do that because of the fire, unless the fire just hadn't spread to that part of the house yet. But her phone wasn't working. Yeah. So she sent Marion to a neighbor's house to use the phone, but the operator didn't appear to be like at her station because nobody answered the phone. The neighbor offered to drive into town and found the fire chief, F.J. Maurice, at a local tavern. And because this is a small town in Appalachia, the fire department was all volunteer. 911 had not yet been invented. Right. There was no siren to alert the firefighters. So what they actually had to do was operate via phone tree. So for all you youngsters listening, there were not always group texts. Yes. So the fire chief or whoever was alerted first would have to call somebody, and then that guy would call somebody else, and then that guy would call somebody else until they were all notified of what was going on.
And they tell 2 friends.
And then they tell 2 friends. And so on.
They tell 2 friends.
Yes.
And so on. And so on.
Exactly. So,
phone tree.
Yes. The fire chief also made a wild claim that he didn't have anyone to drive the fire truck because they were all at war. So, number 1, Happy Christmas, war is over. So, you probably weren't missing all of your men. Number 2, why can't you, the fire chief, drive the truck?
Right.
It took 7 hours for the fire department to get to the house that was only 2.5 miles away.
They should have had like a bucket line going.
No kidding. In all of that time?
Yeah.
No kidding. So the firefighters arrive at 8 o'clock the next morning, Christmas morning. And at that point, the house is gone.
Yeah.
Report said that it only took 45 minutes for the house to be completely destroyed. The firefighters kind of sift through the rubble for about 2 hours, and the fire chief comes over and basically says, "Your children are all dead." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, did you find them?"
Yeah.
And the guy tells him, "No, but the fire probably just burned so hot that it destroyed all of their remains." Mm-hmm. Merry Christmas, I guess.
Yeah.
So, modern forensic people...
Happy holidays, folks.
Yeah. Modern forensic people say that this initial search should have taken days, maybe even weeks, rather than 2 hours before any kind of conclusion was drawn. But I guess these guys needed to go home and see what Santa brought.
Yeah.
And so they left. And the fire chief's parting words were to leave the site alone for future searches, like if the police or like whatever came out. I guess if they ever got around to it.
Yeah.
A state police inspector ruled the fire to be caused by faulty wiring. And without any other real investigation, the coroner held an inquest, calling together a jury of people in town, gave them information, and before the new year, they had issued 5 death certificates for the children, with the cause of death listed as, quote, fire or suffocation. But they had no remains
evidence
or
that the children
anything.
were even in the house.
Yes. So George decided to fill in the basement with like 5 feet of dirt, and they were going to create like a garden kind of memorial. He was like, well, if this is a mass grave of my children, like we're just going to fill it in. And the basement was basically all that was left of the structure. Mm-hmm. And so the more they thought about it, though, the more it felt off. And they began to question the investigation, or I guess lack thereof of the investigation, along with some other weird happenings in the weeks leading up to the fire. So Jennie was very disturbed by the idea that there wasn't a single trace left of her children.
Right.
And so she started kind of conducting her own experiments. And she started burning animal bones. And like pork chop bones, chicken bones, beef joints, things that were left over from dinner or whatever. And every time she was still left with charred bones. Plus, in the wreckage of their house, there were still like books and unburned appliances and things that, or at least things that were still recognizable. And so, as morbid as this is, Marion was quoted later saying that they didn't smell any burning flesh, which is supposed to be a very strong smell, like a strong pungent smell. And so if there were 5 humans being burned in this inferno, surely you would smell the burning flesh. So Jennie visits the local crematorium, and she's like, hey, they're telling me that this fire burned too hot, and that's why they can't find my children. So I'm burning bones. I'm still have bones. Please educate me. And the employee told her that a body burning at 2,000 degrees for 2 hours would still leave traces of bones. And a fire investigator on History's Greatest Mysteries even pointed out that even in a crematorium, they ground the leftover bones and teeth to include in the ashes. Yeah. So if the house had completely burned in 45 minutes, it's unlikely that it burned long enough for the bones to be completely destroyed. Also, Jennie had read a story in a newspaper about another house fire that happened either like right before or right after theirs in a neighboring town, and the skeletal remains of all 7 people who perished in that fire were recovered. A telephone repairman reportedly told the family that their phone lines had been cut, not burned, and that the cut was like 2 feet away from the pole, and someone would have had to climb like 14 feet up to cut it.
So someone did have to climb a telephone pole.
They sure did. They sure did. And not just in Hooterville.
No.
So around the time of the fire, the neighbors reported that a man was seen stealing a block and tackle from the Sodder home. Do you know what that is? A block and tackle. I had to look it up. I didn't know what it was. It's apparently one of those like big pulley things with the hook to pull engines out of trucks. I heard tackle and immediately went to fishing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so somebody was seen stealing one of these.
I've heard of the word engine block.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I guess. The man was located and arrested for theft. He admitted to cutting the wire, but said he thought he was cutting the power line. Jennie later said that if he had cut the power line, they never would have been able to make it out of the house because they had reportedly turned on lights downstairs to find their way out of the house. Also, this would have had to have happened very quickly because Jennie answered the phone at like midnight, and it was only at like 1 when she discovered the house burning. So, also, was this the man who took the ladder from the side of the house? Is this how the ladder went missing?
Right.
So they also questioned the ruling that the cause of the fire was faulty wiring. So for one, they clearly remember lights being on in the house when they were running out. I have heard that it was like the Christmas tree lights, that Jennie had turned off all the lights in the house, but she left the Christmas tree plugged in when she went to bed. But also, Jennie did make the statement that they had turned on lights as they were leaving to see their way out of the house. So, but either way, they felt that if the fire had been caused by faulty wiring, none of the lights in the house would have worked. Now, I'm not an electrician. I know that that's probably a surprise to everyone listening.
It really is. Me included.
And so I don't know if this is true or not. So Dennis, are you listening? Can you weigh in, please?
Amy, ask Dennis.
Yes, Amy, could you ask Dennis if the house was on fire from faulty wiring, would their downstairs lights still have worked? Thank you. Okay. So it was also reported that recently George had had an electric stove installed in the house. And at the time of the rewiring for the new stove, he had an inspector with the power company come out to make sure that everything was done correctly and was given the seal of approval. So I guess it's possible that the inspector didn't do his job.
Right.
But, or maybe even something happened between then and the fire.
Could have.
But maybe also just blaming the wiring was the easy answer.
Well, yeah.
Rather than doing an actual investigation.
Well, plus, especially in the 40s, I'm sure that their investigative, like tools and procedures weren't that advanced. And so.
Yeah. Maybe. So George also recalled that a few months before the fire, a stranger showed up at the house looking for work. And George told him that he didn't have any work for him, but the dude, followed him around the house, and I guess saw the electrical box and told George, this is going to cause a fire someday.
Yeah.
Which is literally what Dennis says every time he comes to our house.
Yeah.
George thought that it was a weird warning from a stranger, especially because he had already had it inspected and was told that it was fine. And then another weird thing, and maybe the weirdest thing, was that when George moved to Fayetteville, he was either employed by or just worked with a man named Florenzo Gianotolo. Okay. He was the director of the Fayette County National Bank, and he had apparently co-signed the mortgage for the Sodders' home. And I don't know if this was payment for helping them or what, but because of this, he was listed as the recipient of the $1,500 insurance payout on the house should it be destroyed by fire or something. And recently, he had increased that payment to $1,750 without telling the Sodders that he did this. And this would have been about $31,000 in today's money.
Yeah. Still doesn't seem like a big enough amount of money to cause anything nefarious to happen on his end.
Yeah, you wouldn't think. But that guy on the show we were watching the other day killed that man over $60.
Over $60.
So, people be crazy. It's also reported that in October of 1945, this Gianotolo man sent an insurance salesman named Russell Long to the house to sell George Sodder life insurance on his children. George declined and asked the man to leave. Russell Long reportedly got irate and told George, your goddamn house is going up in smoke and your children are going to be destroyed. You are going to be paid for the dirty remarks you've been making about Mussolini.
Okay.
Which seems like a lot just for not making a sale.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't know what Janitolo's, like, purpose in sending the insurance salesman to him would have been, other than maybe, like, he also would have been listed as a benefactor or something. I don't know, but he was real upset. And then also made it political.
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't know. The other children also remembered, right before Christmas, a man in a parked car watching the children get off the bus from school and walk home. And I'm not sure if this happened multiple times or just one time, but it was one of the stories of the weird things leading up to this.
Yeah, which is quite a lot of things.
It's a lot of things, right? So one time when George and Jennie and Sylvia went back to the property, Sylvia found a hard rubber object in the yard, and after looking it over, George believed it to be a napalm pineapple bomb, which very likely could have been what Jennie heard hit the roof that night. A man who had been riding the bus in the area that night came forward later saying he saw balls of fire being thrown at the house.
Oh, goodness.
Other tips came in. One woman said she saw... Now they're playing wrapping paper. Okay. One woman said she saw the children in the back of a car being driven away from the area on the night of the fire. Another woman at a tourist stop about 50 miles northwest of Fayetteville said she served them breakfast the morning after the fire, and that there was a car in the parking lot with Florida license plates. After seeing the story of the fire and pictures of the children in the newspaper, a woman who worked at a hotel in Charleston, West Virginia, gave the following account. Quote, "The children were accompanied by 2 women and 2 men, all of Italian extraction. I do not remember the exact date. However, the entire party did register at the hotel and stayed in a large room with several beds. They registered about midnight. I tried to talk to the children in a friendly manner, but the men appeared hostile and refused to allow me to talk to these children. One of the men looked at me in a hostile manner. He turned around and began talking rapidly in Italian. Immediately, the whole party stopped talking to me. I sensed I was being frozen out, and so I said nothing more. They left early the next morning." And apparently, even though she said she couldn't remember the date, she remembered it to be about a week after the fire.
Huh.
Yeah.
Only 50 miles away after a week after the fire?
I know. That's what I thought was weird, too. Because I thought if it was, like, the next day or something, because, like, the lady at the tourist stop who served them breakfast the next morning, it was on the way to Charleston. And so I was wondering if, like, maybe it was, like, kind of on their way, but it was just 50 miles away, so.
Yeah, that's not very far in a week.
No. Unless they were staying at other places in the area for, I don't know, whatever reason. In 1947, the family wrote to the FBI and got a response from J. Edgar Hoover himself. He wrote, quote, "Although I would like to be of service, the matter related appears to be of local character and does not come within the investigative jurisdiction of this bureau." And so, for anyone who watches Criminal Minds, you know that the FBI can't just investigate anything. They have to be invited by the local authorities, unless the crime crosses state lines or there's some other kind of federal aspect to the crime. And reportedly, he did go on to say that if they could get permission from the local authorities, they would be happy to help. However, the Fayetteville police and fire departments both said no.
Like,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, because I don't know, unless they felt like it was an insult to them because they had already done their jobs. And
yeah, and I mean, granted, most of my information comes from Criminal Minds, but you do see that a lot on the show where, like, the local police, like, feel like the FBI is taking over or trying to take credit for something or whatever, and that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just, we just really want to help you figure out what happened to these 5 children that are missing.
But, you know, there's a good chance they were like, we already told you they died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so they didn't want...
Our answer wasn't good enough for you.
Yeah. So without the help of the actual authorities, their next step was to hire a private investigator named C.C. Tinsley. Isn't that such a private investigator name?
I was going to say, private investigators have to have names like that.
Yep. And he uncovered a lot of crazy. And one thing that he reportedly found is something that I've heard and read differently depending on the source. So the Smithsonian Magazine article that I read says that Tinsley discovered that the insurance salesman who threatened George had later been a member of the coroner's inquest jury that determined that the fire was accidental and that his children had died. But on History's Greatest Mysteries, they said that it was Giannotolo himself who was on the jury. And they show pictures of the death certificates where it appears Giannotolo's name is on the documents. But then I read another article that said Florenzo Giannotolo was the guy who, like, was going to get the insurance money and did get the insurance money, but that he somehow got his cousin or nephew or something, the C.G. Giannotolo, to be on the coroner's inquest jury. And it does say C.G. Giannotolo on the forms that it shows on the show. So that probably is more what it was.
Yeah.
Either way, it's sketchy because there was definitely conflict of interest there.
Well, yeah, and I don't know, it sounds possibly like the insurance guy and that guy are, like, in cahoots.
Yes, very much so. So Tinsley was also the one to discover that Giannotolo had increased the payout on the house insurance. But the craziest thing that he found was the old fire chief, F.J. Maurice, had apparently confided in a local preacher that while he claimed... Mom's making me laugh. Mom's watching Freakier Friday, which we have not yet watched. But apparently it's hilarious because I can hear her laughing her head off in there. And it's making me laugh, even though I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so Fire Chief F.J. Maurice had confided in a local preacher that while he claimed that he had found no human remains at all at the site, that he had actually found a heart and put it in a metal dynamite box and buried it in the rubble of the house. If you guys could see Farron's face right now. It's exactly probably the face you're all making right now, actually.
What?
Wouldn't... Yeah.
If you found the heart, wouldn't you, like, report that?
Also, to me, I'm like, the fire was so hot, it burned the bones
but
to
it
nothing.
Left a heart?
But there was a heart there. So, of course, after hearing this, they went straight to the house, dug up the box. They did indeed find a rotting organ inside this box.
Delicious.
They took it to a local funeral director who said, yeah, this is a beef liver. Also, it's never seen fire.
Yeah.
So, this is weird, right? I mean, are you feeling like this is weird? Because I'm feeling like this is weird.
I mean...
Like, he went out and bought a beef liver and hid it in a box and then went and told the preacher that he found a human heart.
Yeah.
Like, hoping maybe that it would get back to the family, because otherwise, why would you do that?
Exactly.
So there are some people that speculate that maybe he was trying to get the family to stop investigating. Like, maybe if you find something, that you will just accept that your children are dead and you'll stop it.
Right.
In 1949, the family hired a pathologist named Oscar B. Hunter from Washington, D.C. to excavate the site of the house. So they finally were just like, let's just go through it. And figure this out. So during the excavation, 4 bones were found, and they sent them to the Smithsonian Institute to be examined. The examination concluded that they were pieces of human vertebrae. The report said they would have belonged to one person between the ages of 16 and 22. The closest that of the missing children that would have come to was 14-year-old Maurice. They said that it was possible, but not probable, that they were his because of, like, the fusion on the bones. That, maybe he showed that much maturation in his bones, but probably not.
Right.
Let's see. I lost my place. Okay. It also went on to say that the bones did not show any signs of having been exposed to fire, and that, quote, "It is very strange that no other bones were found in the allegedly careful excavation of the basement of the house. One would expect to find the full skeletons of the 5 children rather than only 4 vertebrae."
Mm-hmm.
And the report concluded that the bones likely came from the dirt that George had used to fill the basement in. So, like, who did those bones belong to?
Exactly. Like,
but no one will ever
whose grave is he
know,
digging up?
right? Because the bones have since been lost, and so nobody can do DNA on them now.
Yeah.
After receiving the Smithsonian's report, Governor Okie L. Pattison, which I was like, of course, his name is Okie, and State Police Superintendent W.E. Burchett told the family that their grief was clouding their judgment and that their continued search was hopeless, and they officially closed the case.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. So in 1952, the family...
Screw you guys for having hope.
Exactly, yeah. In 1952, the family constructed a... Sweetie girl, could you, like, settle down, please?
Or, like, get back on the pillows where you were,
Yeah,
which seems more
quiet.
comfortable than 4 rolls of wrapping paper.
And quiet. In 1952, the family constructed a billboard along Route 16 that stood for almost 40 years. It showed a black and white picture of each of the children with the headline, "What was their fate? Kidnapped, murdered, or are they still alive?" There was a brief statement about what happened that night and an offer of a $5,000 reward, which was soon increased to $10,000. They also handed out flyers that had the same information. Leads continued to come in, and George literally drove all over the country checking out every lead that they got. They heard that Martha was in a convent in St. Louis. Another time, George saw a picture in a newspaper of school children in New York City and became convinced that one of the girls was Betty. So he drove all the way up to Manhattan and found these people, but the little girl's parents refused to speak to him or let him see their daughter. Which, I mean, on one hand, I kind of understand, right? Because, like, this crazy guy showing up and, like, demanding to see their kid and be like, I think that's my daughter. So, I get it, but that probably was hard. In 1966, a woman in Texas, I think she was, like, in the Houston area, claimed to have overheard a drunk man in a bar claim to be Louis Sodder, and that the person he was with was Maurice, and told the story of the fire. George drove to Texas but couldn't find the woman who had written the letter. However, he somehow found the 2 men. And remember that they were 14 and 9 when they went missing. So at this point, they would have been 35 and 30. And these men could possibly have been them. The resemblance was apparently there. However, they both denied that they were the Sodder boys. But George actually believed for the rest of his life that those men were actually his sons. I don't know why they would have told him that they weren't.
Exactly.
If
and
they
especially if they were them and they were, you know, like, retelling the story at one point, like, what would it benefit them to then be like, oh no, this is not us, when their dad shows up?
Right. In 1967, Jennie received a weird piece of mail addressed only to her at the house. The envelope had a Kentucky postmark with no return address, and inside was only a picture of a man, and on the back was written, "Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie, ILIL boys, A90132 or 35. So, first, they both agreed that the man in the picture bared a striking resemblance to Louis. And even updated their billboard to include this, like, updated image of Louis, because they were like, this could possibly be him. However, they didn't have a son named Frankie. But, and I apologize because I listened to a lot of podcasts the other night, and one of them, and it was only one of them, and I didn't write it down, and I should have, said that Frankie was Louis's nickname for Maurice. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I only heard it in the one place. The 2 weird numbers correspond to zip codes in Sicily.
Yeah.
And the Sodders hired another PI to go to Kentucky to see if they could track down this man in the picture. The PI disappeared, never to be heard from again.
Cool.
And, like, people are like, did he just, like, take their money and run? Or did something happen to him? Like, did he find something that he shouldn't have found? Did he ask questions to the wrong person?
Yeah.
Like, did something else happen to him? Because a lot of people are like, why would he take the money and run? I doubt that he was paid that much money.
Right. I doubt that he was being paid, like...
But it's really bizarre because they never could get in touch with this guy again after this.
That's bizarre.
Mm-hmm. They never published the message from the picture because they were worried that it might put their son at risk. In 1968, George told the Associated Press, quote, "It's hard sometimes to get to sleep at night, just wondering about them. After all, if someone wanted to get me, why did they get my family too? It's like hitting a rock wall. We can't go any further. We just don't know what to do now." And he died a year later. After George died, Jennie built a big fence around her property and started adding rooms to her house. I assume a little bit like Sarah Winchester, but without the ghosts. Because everything that I've read about this case just presumes that she was trying to, like, put a barrier between herself and the outside world. Mm-hmm. She wore black from the time of the fire until her death in 1989. And after she died, the family or the town, I don't know which, took the billboard down. Which I was like, rude.
Yeah.
Leave it up. So the two biggest theories, one, that they actually just died in the fire. There was a journalist for NPR who had written about the case, and she said when he put that even though they claimed that the fire burned for only 45 minutes, that when the fire department arrived the next day, it was still very hot, and they even had to, like, wet it down before they could start looking for the kids.
Right.
And then when George filled the basement in, that it was still hot. And so this could have created, like, some kind of, like, cremation oven that did indeed, like, just destroy all of the bones and anything that was left over that maybe got missed by the police department.
Yeah.
Or the fire department or whatever. And so that could have happened.
I guess.
I'm not smart enough to know those
No.
things. The other biggest theory is the mafia.
Okay.
George was from, what did I say, Sardinia?
I think so.
Yeah. And those zip codes on the back of that picture were from Sicily. Sicily is home to the Cosa Nostra, the Sicilian mafia. George never would tell anyone why he left Italy. Like, people have said it was like he was oddly reticent about it. Like, he just wouldn't tell anybody why he left. When you look at it from, like, the perspective of he was a 13-year-old, like, it could have been running away from, like, abusive parents or something like that. But if you look at it as a perspective of maybe it was a 28-year-old man who came, maybe he was in trouble with the mob.
Yeah.
I don't know how many 13-year-olds get in trouble with the mob in 1945. I just don't know. Some speculate that he made the mafia upset with his defamatory opinions on Mussolini. Some speculate that maybe the mafia had tried to recruit him in his trucking business and he had refused. As for the children, they could have been taken, like, kidnapped to punish George. It would make sense, I guess, that Italians had been seen with the children at that tourist stop in the hotel. I already said that. The picture had the zip codes from Sicily on it. If the children had been abducted, they possibly had been taken to Italy, and maybe they never reached out to their parents because they didn't want to put them in danger.
Yeah.
And plus, all of the weird things leading up to the fire and the shoddy investigation made everything just more suspicious. One source claimed that the fire chief was also a bookkeeper for Janatolo, which kind of strengthens their ties.
Yeah.
And maybe he, like, fixed the investigation for Janatolo. A local prosecutor allegedly told the Sodders that he wouldn't question these people because it was a conflict of interest because they were his friends.
Okay.
The people in town that he would be questioning, and also told them today they burned your house, but tomorrow they may burn mine, and I have children too.
Yeah.
Which also is telling about the people in this town that you would have to be worried about that. A lot of people are just like, but why would they kidnap 5 of the kids, or and so I've heard people say, well, maybe all of the children had like gone outside to take care of the cows and the chickens or whatever, and maybe that's when they got kidnapped. Right. And maybe they were going to take all of the kids, but I can't imagine, because the one boy was 23, so he probably wouldn't have been easy to kidnap, along with 9 other children or 8 other children. But yeah, they just never had any answers, and still have no other answers. I was curious if, like, ancestral DNA could be used in this case. Like, trying to find, I
mean, I'm sure it could be. It just...
children or grandchildren or whatever of the family. Because Sylvia, the youngest daughter, the one that was 3,
right,
she died in, I think, 2021. And her granddaughter, like, I guess before she died, she made her granddaughter promise to, like, keep the story alive and keep looking or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there are still people that we know are direct descendants of these people. And so I just, I know that ancestral DNA being used in, like, solving crimes can sometimes be like a touchy subject. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Like, they caught the Golden State Killer that way. Like, and who was the other one? Michelle Martinko's killer or something that they did that way? But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know if they've tried. I should have looked that up. But I think that would be a good thing. Maybe they could find people who are related to them that are from Italy, or, or in Kentucky, or wherever, Texas or wherever, all these places that they claim to have been. But it's a weird one.
It is a weird one, and
can you imagine half of your children are just gone?
Well, that's what I was going to say. They had so many kids, and to lose that many all at once.
Yeah, just all in one go. They're just gone, and you never know what happened to them. And that's got to be the hardest part. Not even just that they're gone, but just that you will never know what happened to them.
Like, you don't even know if they're dead. Like, you have no idea.
Yep. And I hate to say that, like, if they died, then at least you would know. But at least you would know.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want them to be dead.
No,
but you
obviously,
also,
like... It's the closure thing. It gives you some sort of closure, because at least you know what happened to them, and you're not just left with these thousands of scenarios that could have possibly happened to them.
Yep. It's just so weird. Well, I have one more thing for you.
Okay.
I can't remember if you asked me this question or if I just read it somewhere, but apparently, like, people are asking ChatGPT what's the dumbest question that they asked her this year.
I think Kayla brought that up.
Oh, okay. Well, the other day I asked her what was the dumbest question I asked her this year. Hold on, I gotta pull it up because I didn't write it down. Man, that movie must be hilarious. Okay. So I asked her, what is the dumbest thing I've asked you this year? And she said, honestly, I don't think you've asked anything dumb this year, but you have asked some wonderfully unhinged things. And she said that her favorite one was that I asked her, is there a Christmas werewolf? Immediately followed, this is what she said, immediately followed by you arguing with your own idea, like it personally betrayed you. Iconic behavior. So apparently there are Christmas werewolves.
Okay.
By the way, I was gonna do a story about it, but I didn't think it would take up the entire time. But
what do you mean the entire time? We don't have a time.
I know, but
my stories take up about 12 minutes.
I know that you get upset when they're too short, so this one's an hour. But so I guess in old like legends and stuff, like, you know, it got dark and cold and people didn't know like what to do with that. Mm-hmm. So one thing was that apparently like it's like a cardinal sin or something to be born on the same day as Jesus.
Oh, okay.
And so if a baby was born on Christmas, it was more likely to turn into a werewolf.
Except Jesus was born in the spring.
Yeah, I know. Yes. Yeah. But, yeah, so if you're born on Christmas, then you're going to turn into a werewolf.
Okay.
And then there was another tale that was about, like, the wild men or something, and it was guys that would turn into werewolves, and they would, like, ransack the town and, like, steal and drink people's beer.
I mean... you do what you do.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't have a whole story for you, but there's a couple of fun facts.
Juicy morsels.
Some juicy morsels. Yeah. Well, got anything else? Got any fun Christmas werewolf facts? Trivia for me?
No, I don't have any facts or trivia. Not today.
All right. Just be that way then.
I know. I hate how boring I am.
Get less boring.
If I knew how, I would, but I find that I just get more and more boring as time goes on. But, yeah, I have no interesting things to say at the moment.
Cool. I'm going to go take a shower and
bake cookies.
I'm going to bake some cookies. I'm going to edit this podcast.
Then you gotta go to bed so Santa Claus will come.
That's right. So Sandy Claus will come. All right. Well, remember, you can find us on social media at Twisted and Mysterious, or you can email us at twistedandmysteriousPodcast@gmail.com. Please leave us ratings and reviews and nice things on your platforms that allow you to do that.
It means a lot to us, and it would help out the podcast.
It surely would. All right.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have to say for tonight. So remember that people are gross, and don't get murdered.
And don't get kidnapped by the mafia. Okay, bye.
Bye.